Do you hear me, Cordy?
That's the chair on the street. All right, folks, we are on and live, so let's open the meeting. I'd like to welcome everybody to the December meeting of the ErieNet Local Development Corporation. Time now is 2:04 p.m. Before we get started, I'll take a quick roll. John Mills, Jason Keating, present. Mark Byer, here. Dan Castle, here. Mark Cornell, here. Randy Toth, here. Mike Breeden, here. Elizabeth Freeze, here. And we can acknowledge that Legislator Gilmore is here virtually.
Here.
And we are joined by some folks from TCC. Matt Kreider, if you want to introduce. Yes.
Sure. Joe Starks, our founding partner and president of TCC Technology, joining us with our vice president, Francis McNamara, we call him Mac, our overall operations general manager. And I think many of you know Mark Meyerhofer. He's been involved with ErieNet, but taking on a little more active role with MIP. We'll talk about that a little bit later, but Mark's one of our senior project managers and heads up our broadband. They're in town, because we got guys in the field today checking on status of CLW work and some make-ready work going on. But also one of our long-term colleagues, Andy Lukashevitz, who was instrumental helping us pull together the business plan back in 2022-23, is retiring on Thursday, so in town celebrating his retirement.
There's that R word again. Yeah, I swore I told all of my employees nobody could retire till I retire. I'm still here.
We're trying to get you.
All right, thanks, Matt. We do have quorum in the room. And our first order of business is approval for the draft minutes from November. Everyone had an opportunity to review, take a look. No corrections or additions or amendments. I'll take a motion to approve them. Motion. Second. Moved by Mike Breeden, seconded by Legislator Mills. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions, any opposition? Motion carries. Moving right along to number 2 in our agenda. Let the record show that only Skipper has arrived. Report of the chair, as most of you have heard by now, we'll be moving to the city effective beginning of January. My last day at the county will effectively be this Friday. We have worked it out so that I think I can remain as chair, at the very least, remain on the board. So we're just waiting for a confirmation from county executive to see which way he wants to go. But I'm happy to stay as chair for the foreseeable future. And, you know, if not, happy to remain so we work that out. So, that's it.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. You know, worst case scenario, Mike Breeden will take over.
Worst case scenario. Wow. Wow.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I didn't hear that. Yeah, I didn't hear that.
After our transition meeting, when we discovered that Thomas could stay with us, I was really happy on the meeting, and then I texted Mike, I'm like, I don't want you to make that reflect, but I didn't want you to be the chair. I just think it would be great if Thomas could remain.
I'll do it.
I don't know, Lava.
With that.
All right.
Director's report.
Well, I would like to congratulate Thomas on your new role. That's well deserved. He is downplaying his position, which is a deputy mayor position. Well deserved. We're excited that you'll be staying on this ErieNet. I don't care what the. So, I also want to congratulate Nolan Skipper, who was just announced this week that he will be saying, it's not going to be an acting role anymore, you'll be the new DPW commissioner. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And Jeremy was on the transition team, you're still on the transition team for the mayor, making some of these decisions. So. Mayor's very lucky, the mayor to be is very lucky to have all of you.
And Ben.
And is Ben on?
No.
No, and Ben, yeah, of course, Ben Swankamp is also a deputy mayor. The city is gonna do great things, with all those good people. All right, my report. So some updates. So the MIP phase 4, on this Thursday, we are on the agenda, for the Connect All board meeting, which is a good thing, because sometimes those get pushed back. But we're on it, all the paperwork has been reviewed and filed with their board, so, once they approve the project, then we should be getting a draft GDA to review and start negotiating. Right now, as you recall, we only have the incentive proposal. Which is okay, because we can spend from that date forward, but I think we'll all feel a little bit better once the GDA is signed. They are saying that we should receive that next week. I don't 100% believe that time frame, because we have never gotten anything on time from them. But I did reiterate that we need to get going on that, and I also asked on a separate call, but asked if we could do once we do the initial review, just do a phone call and not have to do these back and forth attorney reviews through email. So hopefully that'll move things along. We do know that we already have to change the milestone dates, because our first reimbursement milestone was supposed to be December 1st. So we can't get reimbursed for a milestone until we actually have the GDA signed. So Matt and his team are working on construction timelines and figuring out milestone dates, if we're gonna do 3 or 4 of those milestones. And so hopefully that'll be, I think she wants that draft soon, so that she can include it in the original draft of the GDA. And we should be moving forward. We still have our weekly calls. Those have been going fine. They're nothing to worry about at this point. They will have 2 public hearings. They will take place in January. They schedule them. We pay for it. I don't think it's very costly, but, and then if you'll recall, probably in October or September timeframe, this board approved a 1% payment, once the GDA is signed. I think it's around $50,000. That payment will go out once the GDA is signed. What else? I attached a year in review, just to kind of give some highlights of what each month. Martha has already pointed out we missed a big one. I did, which was in April, we did our first, our construction announcement and our first fiber going up. So I'll add that so it reflects in the notes. We'll also be doing something very similar at our annual meeting, and so it'll be reflected in that. This was just, a late night, throw together, go through everything we did, and I missed probably the biggest one. So thank you, Martha, for pointing that out. Also, you'll notice all of your favorite committees will be ramping up again. Jeremy, as the chair of the governance committee, those are obviously, those are the beginning of the year. Those dates and times are listed, as well as audit and finance, which meets sporadically throughout the year, but not really until March unless something comes up. So Courtney today is going to be sending you, she was going to send it during the meeting, but she lost her computer. So Courtney today will be sending out all of the policies and the bylaws for the governance committee to review over vacation. This should be a top priority on Christmas morning. As it was, I know, for you guys last year. And so we can hit the ground running on our January 20th meeting. I don't care when you review it, but just slightly review it before that meeting. And if there's anything that comes to mind that we've done over the last year, I'll also kind of think about this. I feel like I did jot down some notes. The things that need to be changed, those are the meetings that we do.
And doesn't Bob, will be reviewing them as well? Because I think last year we had several that just had to be updated pursuant to.
Yes.
Okay, so
Andrew came and Bob, and we're gonna have him come to the first one. I'm also gonna have a meeting with him prior to that meeting, probably the first week of January, to go over anything that he feels that needs to be changed. I think he had something too that he mentioned in the beginning of the year, or in the middle of the year, that, we might wanna review. Other than that, a policy that was changed last year is in effect today with John Gilmore joining us remotely for an approved reason, fill out his form, so governance works. Otherwise, one big thing to note, one big thing to note is we are changing the date, which I don't think we did on this big schedule, but I think we did reflect that maybe in my report. We are going to change the date of the annual meeting this year, which would have fallen on St. Patrick's Day. Given some of the schedules and Irish people on the board, we've decided to move that to the following Tuesday, so it'll be on March 24th. There just happens to be multiple more Tuesdays than ever in that month next year, and so it worked out fine without really being a big hiccup for our orders of our meeting. So the annual meeting will be March 24th instead of March 17th.
But we'll still have the audit and finance on the same.
No, it'll be on the 24th. Yeah, we'll change all of that and send it out. It was a last minute decision, so it's my fault. I said, oh, I gotta do this right before. Thank you. And Matt? You're on.
Great. So I'll give you a quick where we are with construction. I have a table in here that shows our long lead permits. These are the ones that are have more difficult timelines between submission and approval. The good news on that is you can see all of our DOT throughway permits, railroad permits have been submitted, and nearly all of them now have been approved. We still have a few pending on the construction with DOT, but those are in the final stages of review. We've resubmitted traffic control plans for maintenance and protection of traffic during construction. They had some comments, we addressed those, so we're expecting those to catch up soon.
So Matt, on that issue, I think it was 2 meetings ago, you identified permits at DOT being a potential logjam, and it seems like
It's
gone.
much, I don't want to get ahead of my skis, because I will be skiing on Thursday. But yes, we've been able to really work much closer with DOT. We've set up several calls, coordination calls. They did some training with our engineering team, ECCs, and our sub-consultant engineering. So we understand and they understand what we're all trying to do. So that's going much better. Railroad's still going at a snail's pace. I got an update from Katie on the railroads. One thing that's a little bit more in our own control is the BSOR railroad that is controlled by ECIDA or falls within the ECIDA. There's still 3 out of 4 railroad permits that we're trying to get out of them. And so if we could reach out to them again. Once it gets into this one gentleman's hands, Brad, who actually reviews the plans, it's very good. They get his comments, we address them, it's put to bed. But paperwork in front of that is a mystery a little bit as to how that works. So if we could push him on that, that would be helpful. But even the railroads now are we still have 14 out of 43 to finalize. So of all the there's 2 phases of make ready. So our make ready survey and design. Design is where we determine what needs to be done on the poles and who pays for it. And we're 85% through that for both NICIG and grid, still 15% that we're still working through the utilities for what they pay versus what we pay. And of that 15%, it's almost entirely grid. Their process is a little more challenging, and they're a little harder to negotiate on pole replacements. So we're almost to a meeting of the minds, or what we call concurrence with grid. So at 15% should be wrapping up soon. Construction, or make-ready construction. We're almost halfway complete with all the make-ready construction. If you add in what's underway, we have 70% of the make-ready either completed or under construction. What's pending is the make-ready design that hasn't cleared yet, and still are waiting on some permits. And each time make-ready comes out of the utilities, they give us a make-ready package. We have to go out to our contractors, get it quoted, and put them under contract, and that takes about 30 days to do that kind of contract administration. Sometimes quicker. Any questions on the utilities? Going better. We had a little bit of a hiccup with NICIG. If you remember this time last year, they had service outages where they denied anyone from doing any sort of pole transfers. They started to do that again in November. This is actually where the state was helpful. Because of the Connect All project, they interceded to NICIG, and we got relief on those outage stoppages. And so that works moving forward again. So not the situation that we had last year. ErieNet construction, we were at 70.5 miles last month. We're at 70.5 miles this month. What progress we made was that last month we had 15 miles that were under construction. We now have 31. So we've released more construction work orders to CLW, but it's underway. They haven't completed it. Like I said, today we have our construction manager and the construction engineer out inspecting some of this work. So if they're signing off on it, we might see those 70 miles go up a bit. But between weather, permitting, like I said, we moved more miles into construction, but we didn't complete any more. But at this point, at the end of 25, we either have installed or have 100 miles under construction. So out of 355 miles, we're a little bit more than a quarter of the way through, 30% of the way through, which is really better than it sounds, because it's the make-ready construction that's really holding us up. So 26 will be heavy construction. We'll see how much we can get done in January and February with the weather, but come March, April, May, and June, we'll see a lot of movement in the construction numbers. Any questions with that before I get into the underground contractors? Had an RFP, came in last Wednesday. We did the award summary last Friday. Got good proposals. We want to recommend awarding to Richardson. Had the best overall pricing for excavation, and they had a very good price for any least duct work that we need to do with grid. Grid, because they share their pathway with high voltage electric, you have to be certified to work in their duct space. Richardson is. M&C is a utility contractor. In fact, they're working on Pearl Street as we came by. They have an existing contract with ErieNet, but they resubmitted on this RFP. They had good pricing as well. They are not grid authorized for the least duct. So I see us using MNC where for schedule reasons, we can't get Richardson lined up. Third contractor I think we want to include in the pool is DDS. If you remember, DDS has been doing permitting work for us, but their forte is really excavation work, directional drilling. And so they put in a proposal. They had reasonable excavation numbers, but they were probably third to Richardson and MNC, but they also had very good pricing on the grid work. So I see DDS is our preferential grid contractor, Richardson our preferential underground excavation. Looking at the work, this is both MIP and ErieNet. There's about a little less than 30 miles of underground construction, and we got that estimated at 3.85 for a not to exceed, between all three of those contracts, not to exceed 3.85. If Richardson could do all the work, it'll come in less. But because we want to maintain schedule, we're probably going to mix it up a little bit and the rates work out. It's kind of more of an average number. Any questions on the RFP? We gave a summary. I think there's a page in here at the very end that summarizes all of it, and you'll need a magnifying glass to read it. But you can see, different categories had different rates, but overall, those were the three firms that we think we want to wrap up the project with. And that's Make Ready Construction. I'll give you a quick update on our managed network services. Mr. Breeden, I sent you an early Christmas email this afternoon. We updated and proposed the Erie County IRU and Managed Network Services proposal. Again, I'm assuming we want to include the Bill Stadium First Responder Station. MIP's covering the build, which was the expensive part, but we did have to adjust 7 miles for additional IRU and maintenance. The Sienna numbers moved slightly. The good news on the Sienna numbers, it looks as if their tariff prices are much, much less than what we had feared. They're more in the 5% range, not the 30% range. So Mark and you can take a look at that if you want to have a call and go over it in detail. Be happy to do that.
Yeah, we'll submit it to legal to review, and hopefully we get it looked at.
I know everybody's looking at me.
I hope
I
so,
know
because we're
every single
floating
person's
that
looking
money.
at me. That's so weird.
Any feedback on the public safety grant?
Nothing right now.
Is that likely just to be out there till, I believe it's the New York State Interoperable Grant.
I don't know which grant it is. but
Generally,
I know
that's springtime that they give award notices.
They were looking at us, or the emergency service 911 was looking for us to help us, as well as they were looking to see if they could include some of their 911 equipment upgrades for West Communications into that. And initially, they didn't think they could, and then they would give it to us, but if they could get their 911 system upgraded, then we might not get right. So I had a conversation with them this morning, so.
Yeah, the grant won't benefit ErieNet, but certainly would help the county afford it. Any questions on that? Move on to the other RFP we had out was the utility management services. What that is ErieNet doesn't have a lot of underground infrastructure, approximately 30 miles. But as we move into operations, if there's municipal projects, if there's a sidewalk project, if there's a water project, sewer project, and our buried conduit is in the vicinity, we will get dig safe tickets issued to ErieNet, and we may have to stake out or mark out our infrastructure. And we need a service to do that. The company's called On the Mark. We don't expect a lot of tickets, probably have a low volume of tickets. And so we looked at average response times for that sort of work. Thought it'd be somewhere in the neighborhood of 15,000 a year. Over a 5-year contract, that could be $75,000. So that's the not to exceed amount on the contract. But it's difficult to predict any one year, because if you had a sidewalk project in the city, let's say, and they picked the one street where we have a mile, or not, we don't have anything that's a mile long, let's say we have a half mile of underground on that particular street, that would be a rather expensive stakeout, and we could use the whole 15,000 up on that one ticket. Generally, these are small stakeouts, limited areas, and we won't have those, but I can't
When you say
promise-
small, that way, like 10 feet?
tenth
what-
of tenth of a mile perhaps, or, if it's a building related project, it's the property line of the building, so. I guess I'm just cautioning you, if we have a significant project, we may have to come back for another resolution. Tech Gardens, our integrator for the fiber monitoring. We worked that agreement out, we worked out the purchase order, we approved our credit application, and that equipment is shipping in, we expect it to arrive right the 1st of January, which some of our fiber will be coming online then, so it's timing out well.
We sent it to the RAF building.
Yeah, well, the equipment will reside in the RAF.
Oh, we really did.
Yeah,
That was supposed to be a joke.
the construction teams were at the rack.
Today, yes. You already gave a MIP update, so I just listed off where we're actually getting MIP funding for what parts of our 82 locations. Half of it's the city of Buffalo, and a few 5 sites in Lackawanna, and the rest are county sites. What's new on sales and marketing is Erie One BOCES came out with 9 or 10 school districts that are looking for fiber to interconnect their buildings, and so we're taking a look at that. And Buffalo Public Schools has finally come out with their RFP.
Oh, it's come out?
Yeah, 2
Last
years,
week.
2 years
Yeah.
later.
Okay.
The challenge on both of those, more so with the city of Buffalo, is they want their fiber operational by July 1st.
Their time frame didn't change.
Their timeframe didn't change. Just they delayed 2 years.
So we're taking a cautious look at it, because,
We're not going.
Who would be able to do
The
that?
incumbent,
Spectrum?
the incumbent
Comcast.
is Crown Electric, which was formerly Fiber Tech. And that fiber went in on a 2003 capital project for the city of Buffalo. It was the Bill Hayes and Keith Schnetzer project, called Joe. And then Crown connected the buildings in 3. So they've had that contract now for 20 years, 25 years. And so they can just offer up a renewal price.
So they'll be the only ones who can respond to this, right?
Yeah, Spectrum possibly could if they want to. They haven't in the past. So the thing is, we can give a good number to them. And so I think our strategy is more will we be able to hit them on the renewal?
But it's a 7-year
It's,
contract.
no, it's a 5, the initial term is 5. There was an error.
Oh, okay.
So the initial term is 5. We have a question in to see if they could do 3. So we're evaluating all that, but we have to, we can't expose ErieNet to liability of breach of contract.
Question that I probably should already know, but I don't. Would ErieNet offer a better system, or would it just be cheap?
What ErieNet has is the capability of giving them the dark fiber, so they control it forever.
Right.
So they control when they need it, how much they need, and they control the pricing. As they use more infrastructure, more technology, those prices are they're gonna climb. And we've been lucky over the last few years that they've come down, but now they're starting to go back the other way. Thank you, AI.
But and so they obviously don't have that arrangement with whatever company.
Well, Crown,
No.
they have a dark fiber contract with Crown. The way that they get E-rate funding from the feds, Universal Service Fund, requires it to be, it's not a true 20-year IRU, they're renewable 5-year leases. But, so we can offer newer fiber and we can offer them a more preferential configuration because we have met with their IT people and we know that there are some things they'd like to do different if they had a different option, but they squandered their 2 years of planning, unfortunately, so now we have to scramble.
What is driving that due date of June?
The problem is that the E-rate needs to be renewed and they can't extend that out for any more years because they've already extended it out for a full 20 as it is. So they have to do another bid.
But they were aware of it 2 years ago. They contacted us 2 years ago this past November and said, we're gonna be putting this out. We wanna have the ability, we want ErieNet to have the ability to bid on it. We've met with them several times. We've pushed it all the way up through like probably 6 months ago and said, we can still build it if we know if it comes out today. And they didn't put it out. So why, I don't know, but they didn't put it out.
When you say new fiber, what's that mean? I don't.
Our fiber would be put in 2026 and theirs was put in 2003.
But what's the, I don't know.
No, I mean, fiber has a pretty good life. It's got at least a 50-year life cycle. So ours would be 20 years longer.
But it's not like the technology of fiber is.
What hooks up to it changes every
Yeah, I was
year.
gonna say, the fiber itself is pretty much apples for apples,
Right.
it's the electronics that goes to
That
that.
goes to-
You know, Crown's giving them an E-rate, they probably aren't gonna look to E-rate. Other things that come into it, especially with AI, because you're gonna need some new technology that supports that. That's where ErieNet's gonna excel on its side.
Yeah, the other advantage though is that fiber, and I know this for a fact because, we started fiber tech. That fiber has been dug up a lot, right? So the quality of what they're getting, although it might work great for them now, because they have to dig it up and splice it, they create loss in the cable. And when that happens, it degrades the performance of it.
Ours would have been better.
I mean, but should we, so I guess my question is there a political answer to, we've dealt with, other.
Ideally, if we could get the city to amend this RFP,
The Buffalo Public Schools,
Yeah.
not the city.
Yeah.
the city school district.
Right.
Correct. If they would amend that RFP to a 3-year initial term, that would be a nice horizon for us to be in position to quote it.
In other words,
Renewal.
we forego any chance of getting in now, but maybe make the renewal term a little.
It's very similar to where we found ourselves with the library.
They could move it to October, which is in the RFP, but we'd have to pay their service, whatever they're paying now for the extension, plus the bill. We wouldn't even have the build probably done by then, because our backbone will probably be done, will be done by then. And then there'll be laterals, we're doing the MIP, like, it's too tight.
Yeah,
You have to pick, we already committed to MIP by the end of the year. And to then commit to Buffalo schools, if they'll have it by June,
yeah, I get it.
could come at the expense of MIP. And Mr. Breeden needs his 911 sites by October.
Yeah.
So,
Well, the MIP money has to get
That's the
spent by the end of
priority,
the year.
yeah.
Right,
That's very.
so we'll get them on the renewal.
Maybe.
We've made a phone call. That was
So on
good.
that side.
But the good news is we have the Erie BOCES one coming out. We can look at those. Yeah. Any other questions on the report? Any comments?
All set. All right, thank you, Matt. Moving along on our agenda, we don't have any committee reports this month, nor do we have unfinished business or new business, so we'll jump right into our resolutions for today. We'll just begin with resolution 2025-35, resolution of ErieNet Local Development Corporation authorizing the negotiation and execution of an agreement to engage H. Richardson and Sons, DDS Engineering, and MC Utilities LLC to provide underground fiber optic infrastructure construction services in an aggregate amount not to exceed $3.85 million. I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second. Motion by Mike Breeden, seconded by Jason Keating. Discussion? Matt already discussed this one, but does anyone have any additional discussion from Matt or questions from Matt?
I'll just say that 3.85 million is in our MIP budget and in our ARPA. Not additional.
All right, hearing nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed, any abstention? Thanks. Motion carries. Moving on to resolution 2025-36, resolution of the Local Development Corporation authorizing the negotiation and execution of an agreement to engage the Right Utility Locating Services, Inc., OTM, to provide utility management services related to the corporation's underground assets. I'll take a motion.
Second.
Motion by Marcia Pryor, second by please. Open up for discussion.
The only point I'd make is this was also labeled as resolution 2025-35, it should be 36.
On the actual.
Yeah, and
resolution.
then both resolutions are noted
Oh, okay.
as 35.
We'll change that, thank you. Good eyes.
Right, you can catch that.
No, I was just noticing that actually the whole resolution has to be changed, not just the title.
Right.
It's the actual resolution, not just the title. See, I did catch that.
Oh,
Oh, is it the same resolution?
Yeah.
it is.
Oh.
We don't have
I saw it,
36 in front of us.
just,
No, it's the same.
I didn't write the whole resolution.
oh.
It's not too late, Dan. You can go to law school.
No, thank you.
We'll email it out to you.
If the board is comfortable with the full resolution being sent out subsequently, if you're comfortable with vote, we can vote now, if not, then
We can put it up on the screen for everyone to review.
Yeah, we should probably,
Okay.
that's a good idea, something cover us here.
Yeah, let's not play it.
Did I just bump them?
No one's gonna be using the on-the-mark service until it's built, right?
Which one is
Well,
this?
we
That's
have,
36.
we have.
Oh, yeah, we could delay it.
Actually,
Right.
it did come up.
The underground?
Yeah.
Her computer is like really slow.
Yeah, I think we have.
6 miles.
So it could come up. So is that the work that's not ongoing on Pearl Street now? Is ErieNet, or is that a different project?
It's our contractor, haven't seen it, something else.
Make that a little larger, Courtney, please. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know if you wanted to go down.
Yeah, to resolve clauses.
I think you said earlier it was 15,000, but I see 60 up there.
15,000 a year.
Oh, okay, a year, okay.
Times
For 4 years.
5 years is 75. They,
So it's not to exceed.
Not to exceed 60,000 for a term of 3 years, but with 2 one-year extensions.
should be 75.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a math problem.
Yeah.
Well, the attorneys drafted it, not our
I
account.
think Andrew did a prior version when it was.
So what?
So we'll amend that to
75 should
75,000.
be the correct.
So we're changing the $75,000.
Not to
the
exceed
term.
75.
Yes.
Go ahead. Like it never happened.
That's why we didn't give it to you. We wanted to make sure you all read it and caught it. Good job, class.
We've got Dan Castles.
Someone's gotta read it. Come on, guys.
Any questions, concerns?
I move to accept it with the revised dollar amount, $75,000.
Second.
Second. All in favor of the amended resolution as Dan stated?
Who seconded the amendment?
I did some.
We got Dan Castle and Jeremy Toe.
Yep.
So then we go back up to the overall resolution, which was
Martha
Martha and
and
Elizabeth. So all in favor of the amended resolution 2025-36, please note by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, any opposition? Motion carries. Lastly, our next board meeting is January 20th, 2025. If nothing else, I want to thank Melissa and the team for these gifts.
They're just office supplies.
Nice.
And Courtney's mom made them.
Nice, thank
She
you.
does every year. They're square this year.
Sometimes they're round,
Square.
sometimes they're square.
They better taste the same.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So. Second.
All in favor?
I was focusing on the cookies.